Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Hard Nosed Derby Podcast.
We have always talked a little bit about sometimes people on the east side of the river are a little bit different in the Derby aspect of what we're used to. So we're going to go ahead and get that side of the river's perspective with the dungeon guest, Mr. Austin Johnson. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, guys. Good. Glad to be here and give you a little perspective and insight on stuff from over there. So,
we've always said that we think, even on last week's podcast, every state is different, whether it's a building aspect or a driving aspect.
And immediately we started talking about border wars.
Yes.
Yeah. Not my proudest driving moments out there, but it was fun.
But it was cool as shit while it lasted.
Everybody still talks about it, so that's the important part.
And we're also going to get, he has started the Southern Number 9 Domination Motorsports Tour for this year after the loss of Mr. Terry Lierly, and how quick everybody jumped on board to help Austin out with everything that he's doing. And we're gonna cap off on some of that stuff too, and get his insight on, the show, the promotion ability, and all the help and the sponsors and stuff that he has gotten. So, Austin, let's just start it out, man. How did you start derbying?
Growing up, my uncle done it a little bit. That was it for family-wise. Then in high school, I really took on to liking it and driving everywhere. Hell, we were 16 years old. We'd load up, go to Champaign, go up to Metal Mayhem, just two of us, me and another high school buddy. We might drive all the way down to Arkansas to Hot Springs back then. That was back in the MapQuest days, printed out.
There we go.
There we go. There's a couple times we got lost.
I guarantee there's a lot of people that listen to this that know all about that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. We might end up on the wrong road here and there, but started doing that. Never really wanted to drive. Then first year of college, had the high school sweetheart. We didn't see eye to eye anymore, weren't together, and decided to build one that summer. And here we are 13 years later, still running.
So that was your out.
That was they told me to try it once for fun. I mean, a little, took up some time. And
what was it? What did you run first?
1992 Chrysler New Yorker, little K car.
What the hell?
Done. Little front wheel drive at the hometown fair.
And it just stuck.
Made 3 hits that night.
What cracks me up is...
Sounds like Steven in a Mopar.
We've talked to a lot of people, and it seems that the compact side of things is where a lot of these guys started.
Affordability for a young kid. I mean, there's a lot of it.
I mean, we were talking to Rob Hewer. That was his first ride was a compact.
And there's a lot of guys that shock you that some of them probably aren't proud to admit it nowadays, but where they got their start was compacts. I mean, that's where it came from. We've
talked about it now. If you were to jump in one of these Weld compacts, the affordability's not there anymore.
No, it's just as bad as full size on that. I mean, that's why your gut and go and everything's so big. The front wheel drive hobo, what we call it over there, is because of the affordability and the knowledge necessarily don't have to be there to be able to compete.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, because we've talked about it a million times. The kill cars are out there. You got the 16-year-old kids.
Yeah.
That they threw this together with their buddies, and they don't give a shit about how they drive it. They're not driving backwards. They're full blast, front to back until it quits.
Yes, and that's what makes the show. It is.
100%.
100% is. And
that's why I like watching these guys that run the Weld compacts or our big cars and stuff step down to that gut and go. Like whenever we have those big payout shows.
Well, I do it. I mean,
and you'll see them do it, and then they'll get taken out by some 15-year-old kid.
Kamikaze kid.
Yes. I love it.
Yep.
Which sometimes the big car stock class is like that.
It is, yeah. I mean, you don't
especially
have
these hometown shows, these guys that are still running the 4.6 and the new style Fords and stuff, they're not out there to win.
No. And that's in them stock classes, one shot, it'll bring your night in a hurry. So.
Oh, yeah. You take some kid in a rusty boxed, new style Ford, come full track and 45 you when you were working on somebody that has the experience, you're done.
Yep.
Well, that is how you got started.
That's how I got started.
In a little car.
Yeah.
I never imagined.
Yeah, ran small cars about 4 years steady, then still run them off and on. Then actually started hanging out with Jay Crowder and Matt Neese, are the two responsible for getting me in full size for the most part, and it kind of hooked since then.
The old Hog Inc.
Yeah.
The Hog Inc. Now, I've been around the derbies a long time, but not really so much on the Illinois side. Which we were talking off air. Mike Brown is done, and I remember seeing you and Mike together a lot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, back to these high school days, so the ones I'd follow around was Mike Brown, Josh Hull, and Moose, Chris Weatherby. They were known as WFO back then. And that's who we'd go watch and follow for the most part. And that's, where I'd done, and that's why I wanted to do is drive like them guys did back then. And like I said, here we are 13 years later still doing that.
And it's crazy talking about that. Like, you had a group of guys that you went and followed and watched. Like, there was some of that stuff whenever I got started into it. There was DMP, Bad Boys, Outlaws,
Oh yeah,
that's who we were showing up and watching these guys. Like, we didn't even know.
I mean, just like your favorite NASCAR driver, following them, being your little groupie or whatever, is what it was back then, and still is today.
Because I remember whenever I met, Jake Reed and Rob Hewer and all those guys, Josh Gordon, whenever I was actually working pipeline, 2011, 12, something like that, he talked me into going to Blizzard Bash.
Yep.
And we went out there and we were watching these guys, and I was like, holy shit, this is way different than anything I'd ever seen around home.
Yes.
Because my uncle and dad and all them had run, early 90s to early 2000s, and you just didn't see the quality of shit around here that you did out there at Blizzard Bash. And we got to walk around the pits and meeting some of these guys, and I told Josh, I was like, man, they're all close to home. Like, these are people that and weren't afraid to talk to you. They tell you, here's what you need. Like, here's how you get started. And honestly, I mean, it's awesome to have those, those groups of guys that will do that stuff. And that's what gets the youth inspired and running that stuff.
Well, I mean, you talk about youth. We've talked about it before. Macon Derby was 2015, so my boy would have been about 10 years old. He's always pretty emotionless, he doesn't get not too up, not too down.
Mad.
Well, he does get pissed. But the night that he went to watch CJ, and the night CJ flipped Corey,
yeah, I was there.
I have never saw him have that much emotion. I mean, he jumped up out of his seat screaming, yeah!
I don't think a lot of these drivers realize the impact they have on these kids.
Right, 100%.
I mean, I go to the local restaurant, and there's a kid in there every time asking me what we're up to, what Corey McAllister's up to. Corey's his favorite driver. He got his, they throw out Frisbees at Mike shows stuff or whatever, hand them out. Well, he got Corey's name one time. Well, ever since then, that kid's been his biggest fan. I mean, so they look up to us just like superheroes or whatever.
And I mean, that's awesome. Well, I know one of the big influences why I even started derbying, again, from running the compact stuff, because I run aluminum a little bit and stuff like that. Well, I got to running around with Corey and Teddy and all those guys, and we got to going up there, and I was just helping them strip cars. I didn't know anything about building Cadillacs or anything like that. But they were like, yeah, hey, we're going to be in the shop this weekend. Well, me and Pete Hagenmelly and Jeff Rash and shit, we'd all jump in and go up there and help them. And I remember, I probably helped him for a season. And then the next year I went up there to help Corey get ready for Carnage or something. And whenever we got up there, Jeff and Pete and myself, Corey had us all new roof signs made that had BSC and shit on them. And I mean, it was just, stuff like that. Like, that's shit you don't forget about.
No, yeah.
Just like when I talked to Alan and Dalen and Chody, the kid, one of them got a roof sign from Cody. One kid got Alan's trophy from your first show.
I think Alan gave his roof sign up too.
Yeah, I mean, he said just the look on the kid's face, when you hand them stuff, it's just like almost starstruck.
Yep. Tri-City a couple years ago, I went down and ran the stock class, and I got the Mad Dog in the stock, and I ended up winning the overall show Mad Dog.
Hold on, you got a Mad Dog?
I know, hard to believe, right? Yeah, but brought it home. The one for the class was just a little 10 by 12 plaque or whatever. Well, the local kid at the restaurant, Alex, his name, we always go in there and talk to him, and he always asked me how I done. Well, took him that in there. Seeing that kid's eyes light up, I said, here, this is for you. And I know he went home and hung it right on his wall. So, I mean, that's what it's about, seeing the kids' reactions.
You know, he doesn't like it when I talk, you know, circle track.
Oh,
you know, but
every episode.
But that is how, you know, those drivers, you know,
that's what
they only want so many trophies.
Well, you can't. The money doesn't motivate you in any of these sports.
No, it don't. If you're doing it for the money, you're in it for the wrong thing. Because you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But you know, when we win so many shows a year, the trophies we would just hand to a kid.
Yep.
Whoever kid's name, you know, took a picture. He took the trophy home, and the look on that kid's face is just like cloud 100. You know, he was just way up there.
And even speaking about circle track, the interaction that them drivers have with the kids is phenomenal back there. If you go to a circle track race in the pits, I want to get that more incorporated into the derby side of it, and that's why we're going to do that meet and greet stuff, because you walk around, I mean, everybody says they're hollers, signing autographs, whether it's be handing out something here and signing for them or whatever, and I think that the local kids, the derby drivers, are a step above the circle track guys in their eyes, and I really want them to get their hands on with the kids and actually see what it means to them.
Take that, Dick.
Well, he told you straight up that he thought they were a step above them. So.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not. Yeah. But, you know, just the interaction is a lot. And I know Austin is really doing that stuff, especially for the show coming up at, you know, PL.
Well, you can't imagine the amount of scrutiny I caught whenever we first started putting these derbies on, because a lot of these places you go, 16 and under is not allowed in pits.
Yeah.
Well, I paid the extra insurance. That way that if they sign the waiver, they go in the pits.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get those kids back there, hands-on, looking at these cars, you can only see so much from the stands.
And not only that, I mean, I know I've went with buddies and stuff. It was him and his son. His son was 7 years old. They're the only two that went when he was running. So they told him his kid couldn't go back there. I mean, he didn't bring nobody else with him. Right. We were away from home. He's like, what do you expect me to do with my son? And they're like, well, you have to find somewhere. So we ended up having to pit next to the fence, and they made him stand on the outside of the fence the whole time.
See, that's
but just where we could be there.
Absolutely not. I would never, ever do that. Yeah. But if you can't get the youth involved, the sport will die.
Yes. I mean, it's dwindling as it is. Just, I mean, expensive everything.
Well, and I know I get frustrated with the calls from the gut and goes and stuff like that. I try to keep the attitude off the phone.
Yeah.
You know, because I want them to call. I want them to ask, instead of sitting there and be like, well, I don't know how to do that, so we're just not going to run it.
Or when they show up and it's not even close, and you're like, we don't know how to fix that.
But a lot of them guys probably just need a little guidance. Yeah. That's what they need.
And I'm not by any means saying I'm the best builder, but a gut and go, I can surely talk somebody through on that over the phone.
Basic standard rule set. Which I am gonna ask him something off air. But okay, now we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. You, I've seen you wear a shirt with your 129 on the back that said "nut job" on the top.
Yeah, that'd have been the original Pound Town shirts.
Mr. Colt Doyle calls you the Prince of Pound Town.
Yeah.
How did the Pound Town get started?
Honestly, I don't know. We were just in the shop one night, compact kids, and thought the Pound Town was a good name for the Derby team. I just came up one night up in there, and it's kind of stuck. And then out of the original guys that used to run, I'm the only one still running out of us. And then Brian Shoemaker, hell of an announcer back home, he coined the phrase Prince of Pound Town one night pulling on the track at Griggsville. And it was actually for the bus derby. And then that kind of just stuck with that part of it.
Now, see, we were talking about a bus derby earlier this spring. We all know Clayton Fernandez. He's got a couple screws loose up top too, you know, in the world of compacts. And he said that he doesn't even want to get into a bus anymore.
You won't see me in a bus again. I don't.
Because you've won it.
I won it for the first 2 years, times, and then the third year did not, and that was my escape out. I was glad because I was done. I didn't have to come back and defend the title. Nothing compares to the hurt that you feel from that.
And is it because you have no protection? You've just got a seatbelt.
It's just it's the 14,000 pounds back to back with no forgiveness. I mean, frame rail to frame rail. The only thing that's giving the energy is traveling right to your body. I mean, that's what's taking the blow. And it's back. I hate driving backwards. I despise
it. We've seen it.
And that bus is backwards, and it's, but I mean, your body's what takes the blow. Everything else is harder.
which the first time we got to see Austin this year was Mother's Day Madness. He was with Doyle Green.
Yep.
With Colt. We had to come check on you after that feature. You decided that you was going to run up the ass end of Eddie Chick's Cadillac, running probably 30 to 40
end. I went right
years.
to that front wheel. Yeah.
And you told me you never wear a seatbelt.
I never wear a seatbelt.
And you put a lap belt on, and we had to come check on you.
Yeah, I thought I had literally cut my intestines in half. The car was still set up for Colt, actually, so I'm a little shorter than Colt is.
A little bit.
I didn't feel comfortable going out in the feature with no belt on, so I'm like, we'll throw the belt on. That'll help me hold in there. Well, I had seen on the opposite team derby, of course, and I seen Eddie down there kind of playing with Colt, but I didn't know that at the time. I mean, I see Colt against the wall and Eddie hitting. I'm like, man, I thought we were good. Well, I'm like, that's my teammate, so we grabbed second and stood on it, and afterwards, Eddie came over. He's like, man, he goes, I wonder why he done that to me. He goes, but then I realized what you seen. I said, yeah, all I seen is you hitting Colt into the wall. And I said, I feel bad, but I mean, I was worried for Eddie more than I was myself.
Yeah. The age, a little bit, and that was Eddie's first one back. After some pretty surgery. Yeah, that was like stupid hard. And we
were talking about him in the heat at Mother's Day. When you backed yourself up on that blind.
Yeah, I thought I had the full track. I was going back for a kill shot then. Forgot we only had half the track that day. Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was lining her up, and we were there before I knew it.
Shit happens.
Oh, yeah, it does. Like I said, I guess I should have looked backwards.
But you were 1 foot away from coming off the block.
I know.
If the tires could have grabbed just one more foot extra, you were coming off, and then it would have been cool shit anyways.
Yeah.
But
the name thing, we've talked about that a bunch. I love hearing the backstory on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it just came from of course, we were all college kids, laughed, thought, Pound Town, that'd be cool.
Well, that was like whenever I come up with Filthy.
Yep.
I bought a pair of sunglasses from Walmart. I didn't even look at them. I just bought them because they fit, and that's what I took home. And they said Filthy on the side of them. Well, that's when everybody was putting that hashtag whatever on the side of there.
Yep.
Well, I was like, you know what? Next show we go to, I'm going to put hashtag Filthy on the side of this bitch. And hell, it's turned into stuff we've marketed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And on the Pound Town stuff, I'd say it's going to stick around, especially for the driving style. It fits. It does. I mean, you're not going to see me drive hard every derby, though.
Bullshit.
Most of them,
okay.
Yes.
I think one of my favorite later runs was that Mopar wagon.
Oh, yep.
That was fucking. I just like the way it bent, I guess.
But the cool part about that, that was a stock show.
Yeah, that was a bone stock show. I mean,
so I've got a fresh clip and stuff for that car.
Well, it looks like where it bends is kind of where a normal, the normal Mopar bends.
Yep.
And I said, man, that car's junk. And somebody I was watching the video was like, no, all you got to do is put a new
new
sub under it.
Clip
You're
on it.
good to go.
Good to go. Yeah, that car actually came from Arizona. It's sat in a shop in Barry all its life, pretty much. And we were saving it for a special occasion. And it was stripped, and I said, well, it's time to go run it. And we decided to pull it out.
You ran the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
That Polaris clip is the same color. I've got that Polaris at the house.
Oh, that kind of like cream white
stub and clip. I just blue body lines would match up.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good time that night, and that's actually my first time ever winning Pleasant Hill. I think I got 7 second place trophies from there until then. Finally got the curse off my back.
Bolt that hip stuff underneath of it.
There we go.
He doesn't need any other reason to drive harder.
No.
I think he used the front up.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the side of the Southern Domination Series. The complete support from, oh my God.
That's outstanding.
Everybody.
Literally everybody. I mean...
And as a promotion company, you try not to promote other people's stuff. We've always said we never want them to fail. But Steven and Alicia and me and Tanya and even the Hard Nosed podcast, that is something that we tried to jump behind as soon as you announced it and try to blow it up on here as much as we can. Even talking on our Facebook stuff.
at all of our shows.
Yeah. which most everybody knows that Jerry is our head big car tech.
Yes.
But when it's family, whether it's family's always family.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, this Derby family is phenomenal.
It's the Derby community in general.
It is.
I don't know how much more we can beat that dead horse, but it doesn't matter what's going on. We had a pass the hat and a 50-50 for a local lady here in town, and the drivers donated
more than the people in the stands.
And they will.
Every time.
Every time. I mean, it's per dollar earned, I guarantee a Derby driver will give more than anybody else almost.
Oh, yes.
Of what out of their earnings. And I don't know why that is. I mean, it's great. It's awesome. But I have came to realize that, I mean, myself included in that, because we're not doing this for the money. You'll never be a head Derbian. I don't care what you do.
Whether it's the promotion side, the driver's side.
You're not. I mean, yeah. I mean, I love this sport, the hobby, passion, whatever you want to call it. And I realize without people doing it and the promoting side of it, it's going to die. I mean, unfortunately, that's the sad truth. We've got to keep pushing different things, and you got to keep mixing it up and everything to keep it growing and trying new things. And like we talked earlier, you got to keep the kids involved. That's where it all starts
100%.
at. And that's getting harder and harder. I mean, more kids on their phone, their tablet, or whatever, not want to be out in the shop. I mean, my son just turned a year. He's out in the shop with me every chance I get. I mean, that's where I want him to be.
He's always in the shop with you. And now he's got Power Wheels.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's going to be wrecking shit probably about this time next year. He's
probably liable to make a special guest appearance at the Power Wheels Derby the 17th. Not going to let him run, but he's going to be able to cruise around with them. So,
is yours remote?
Oh, mine's remote control. I got a remote control one.
So you can justify.
Yeah, I'm going to let him drive around, be the enforcer maybe or something around the outside of it on the 17th. So.
That sounds an awful lot like Austin's running Power Wheels.
Tritt, line them up. Line them up, Tritt.
Yes.
But you have more than just a Derby on the 17th.
Oh, yes. I mean, at the start of the morning that day, I know we're doing the big cornhole tournament. It's $1,000 to win. Blind draw partners. Paying down 5 spots. 9th place gets paid also. I know Jerry had a custom one-of-a-kind set of boards made to give away to one of the teams. I know other people have donated to that. Some special bags with 9 and the wings on them and everything to give away to 9th place. Then we'll go on into around 2 o'clock that afternoon. I'd like to have a meet and greet, which I'd post on there with the drivers. Get about 20, 25 drivers on the track. Let the kids walk around, interact with them, socialize, learn, sit in the cars, take pictures, stuff that they're going to remember. And then 3 o'clock will be the Power Wheels. Brad Roach bringing Power Wheels up again. Also bring your own. And then, of course, 4 o'clock will be the Derby.
And let's jump up into this a little bit. You've got your hobo stock cars.
Yeah.
Is what?
So street stock, we are a big featured class. 5,000 to win. 3,000 goes on down. Paying 10 spots. Over 6 places in that class pay over $1,000. First, second, third, and every class all has a chance at winning a vehicle.
Which is a 70.
So for the street stock class, it's a 76 two-door glass house that Jerry gave us. So first we'll get 3 tickets in a hat. Second place will get 2 tickets put in a hat. And third will get 1 ticket.
And then the people who won one of the first 2 shows that you had, they got tickets as well.
They did not get tickets.
They didn't get the
tickets. This is just for this show.
Okay.
Yep, on that.
But then you were doing a raffle.
So we also have a car we're raffling off, a 74 Plymouth Fury, where all the proceeds are going to the Terry Lierly Memorial Fund. Second place, and that was donated by Jake Cole. Bruce Palmer gave us a 74 Impala bumper to raffle off for the second place in that. Then we're also I'm building a 97 Mercury Grand Marquis for the hobo class for somebody to drive.
And if you have Austin on Snapchat, you need
it's on Facebook.
It's on Facebook now.
You pay attention and listen to it because it is no joke.
I built the car as if I was running it. It was something I was going to take. With that being said, it does have a 5-speed in it. But it's a brand new 355 I built. Hydraulic roller engine, dart heads. I mean, it's everything as if I would run it.
Before he leaves, I'm going to buy some raffle tickets.
And
I'm taking my car too, so if I win that one, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I've heard several people say that they've bought raffle tickets, already planning on bringing a hobo car. The cleanest black frame Mercury I could find. Put a 10-bolt, 12-bolt hybrid rear end in it. Best you can get for that class, in my opinion. Everything's set up for that car to be able to compete. Hopefully have it buttoned up tomorrow. Ticket to the show will be 1 for 10, 6 for 50, and 15 for 100.
But see, okay, just as you say, okay, I'm going to take a car. You win it. Anybody else can do it. Then your buddy can get in your car.
Uh-huh.
And you run the raffle car. That helps your odds a little bit on maybe taking home a check.
It does.
You know, Austin and I were talking.
No, because if I get in that car, there's no chance of that car winning.
There's a healthy Mad Dog prize up that class,
that
too.
Mad Dog check, I think.
Yeah, I think for that one.
But Austin did tell me that he built this thing to hopefully somebody would win it. Win in it.
I want, yes. I mean, or to drive smart. I mean, to use it. The car is built to compete. It really is.
100%. If I get in that car, absolutely no chance of winning.
And that's great. I want somebody to use her. But yeah, it's $1,000 Mad Dog in that class, plus a bumper, plus the WWE like title belts for all the Mad Dog dominators that night. Plus, there's another cool plaque for them that we're giving out. All this stuff's been donated for the most part, as far as these extra prizes from everybody.
The big the plaques, where somebody did the 9 with the wings cut out.
Yeah, TJ Irvin did them. They're actually sponsored by an individual. He didn't want no mention on who paid for all, but thanks him, and TJ donated his time and everything to do them. So they turned out better than I could have expected. So Tanner McElfresh has also made like our highest bumper cutouts, our wheelman cutouts. He's on all them.
Get enough of them bumper cutouts, you could probably build a bumper.
Yeah, you probably could. Yes. So we got all that for the drivers. But yeah, like I said, a vehicle in every class is what's getting given away. I know, like the mod compact guys are getting a W body. That's what they want. The front wheel drive hobo's got a nice 98
should
Camry.
have set them up with a Camry or something.
Well, the front wheel drive hobos get a Camry. They do get a Camry. Yeah.
I haven't figured out this Camry craze yet.
Well, we seen it in Paris in the Gut and Go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, them little bastards are everywhere. and I in my brain, I think it's A, availability, B, price.
Yep.
You know, W bodies, Buddy was like, hey, I want to build your son a W body for the hobo for over here for the youth class. Okay, I tried to find them. I was thinking, well, I can get them pretty cheap. Bullshit.
No. Unless you've got a grandma that's got one sitting in the driveway that she doesn't want anymore, you're not getting a deal on that.
No. So they've kind of figured out, hey, this Camry shit works. And now you're getting all these builders, the manufacturer builders that are building parts, whether it's transmission linkages or
Camry stuff.
Yeah, struts and cradles, protectors,
Yes.
That's all. They've pretty much jumped on board with all that.
Which
shit.
they're going to. I mean, that's from a marketing standpoint. If they see something that's working
100%.
Yeah. Which is just good business.
Yes. Yes.
Well, you have an entire list of which you've got a flyer here.
I brought the flyer down, yeah. I don't want to miss anything on that side of things.
The amount, it just keeps killing me, the amount of support and people who have jumped on this to donate.
Without being asked is the thing. I mean, when we set out to do this, we did not really want to go ask for donations or nothing. Which, obviously, back in January, we had no intentions of us even promoting a derby this year.
Mm-hmm.
It was never thought of. Then, of course, the unfortunate accident happened with the passing of Terry. And we kind of talked about it, and we were just going to originally just have one show and have a memorial show for him somewhere. Me and Jerry were going to rent him fairgrounds and do it. Then Pleasant Hill had wanted to part ways with the promoter that they had, and they ended up reaching out to me and wanted us to do all 3 shows. We talked, and we agreed that we do the 3, with the last one being the Memorial Derby.
That we understand is the big one. We all know why. But then it kind of got jumped to an October 22nd cleanup show.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, about giving back to everybody, our original plans were October 22nd. We were just going to do we did end up having point series this year. We were going to do our points presentation. I know people talked about smoking pork butts and brisket and frying fish and everything. We were just going to have all the drivers come out for that. And we were also, Zach Robinson, sings the song Just Staying and stuff. We booked him to come play that night. So that was our original plan, was just to have a little party. Well, then I got to thinking, and they brought it up, and I knew everybody else, so we just decided to have a small cleanup show that day also. And then Griggsville actually did not have a fall show this year, which is where our local youth over there get a run. I know of several kids getting to build cars that had intentions of running there. So we've decided to add that class for them, for somewhere to go run.
But you just sit here and said a small cleanup show. But it doesn't look like anything that you guys have done at Pleasant Hill this year is small.
No, we have been blessed. I mean, we really have. Had 83 cars at the first show, 77 at the second one. For around our area, that was phenomenal for this year with everything. We knew everything would be scaled back between fuel prices and just the rising cost of everything. And we were blessed to have that. Had 37 street stock at our first one. I mean, that was awesome.
Nasty. 37 street stock.
Yes, 37 quality builds. That show, probably, I know probably Bias was probably one of the best hitting shows to watch around this summer. And then the fair show was even good. Had 3 other fairs within 100 miles that night of each other. And still had 77 cars and probably the best quality out of all of them in the show.
Which I have talked before, which we talked earlier this spring. I had never got to go to P Hill ever. Never been there. And everybody's like, "Oh man," talking about, which I talked to you after the first show, I believe.
Yep.
That I never got to go, but everybody always, back when it was Allen in his heyday and Mike Brown and Hull, where they were just doing nasty shit with Imperials.
Missouri come over. I mean,
Imperials and Sueys and just stupid Buicks, and I mean.
Pleasant Hill used to be Unpleasant Hill, and it's still
Unpleasant Hill.
I don't know if everybody referred to it as, and it still is. It still has that whole
shit factor
perception to it that
it's a stigma.
Yes, the people are still scared. I mean, literally, some people will not run Pleasant Hill because it's Pleasant Hill. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is, and it's always you're never going to see a 2-hour feature at Pleasant Hill. You're not going to have it. You're not. It's just not what it's used to down there. Yes, do I expect this next show to be a little slower paced? 100%. I do, with the money on the line. I think it will be a little slower paced.
And the prizes. I mean, you're going to see it. You're going to see some reserved driving styles until the end.
Yes.
Until they have to drive.
And that's why me and Jerry don't see eye to eye on everything, and this Dominator prize money. It is up there. It's $2,500 plus a bumper plus everything. He didn't want it that high to deter some people, which I understand. But the problem is we also wanted the crowd to have a show. If we don't do that, I don't believe there's a show for the crowd. Because, yes, this is for Terry. Terry was not your Mad Dog driver. He was smart. Yes, he won 2 Mad Dogs, but he was smart out there.
But if he needed to,
he would
turn that bitch smooth up.
He would. I mean, he'd drive just as aggressive as the next person.
Yeah.
But so we want this to be about Terry and him, but we knew also that Terry would want it to be a show. It's the thing. Right. So we're trying to find a happy median there.
I know somebody who was coming, and what they told me they're bringing, and he told me to my face he has 0 intention of winning it.
There are several people I know that come and have 0 intention of winning.
Because I think he's going for that big fat check that you just talked about.
Yeah, I mean, it's $2,500 plus a fabricated pointy plus everything else that's been given. I mean, like I said, and I know them title belts.
Running for all this stuff for a $50 entry.
$50 entry. Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, $50. We wanted to keep it down to make it. I mean, affordable, I guess, but maybe we'll regret keeping it that low. I don't know. But.
As long as you don't end up with what we had at our cleanup show last year, I think you'll be all right.
Yep.
Because that was too much. That was entirely too much.
I'm sure it's going to be entirely too much. I'm sure we're going to be overwhelmed.
170 cars is
But what a lot of people don't understand is, okay, you had 83 on your first one, 75 on your second one.
Yep.
You're used to doing Blizzard Bash.
Yeah.
Which, if anybody doesn't know, Austin is one of the...
That's a 4-day deal.
Correct. Austin is one of the main techs for Domination Motorsports. So they do the Ottawa Team Show, the Blizzard Bash stuff.
Yes.
What the amount of cards that they're used to getting is over roughly a 3 to 5 day span.
Yes, and that's why we did add a Friday tech time for this September show, because especially with the early start on Saturday, 4 p.m. start, we have to start early because we're not going to get it over with if not.
Correct.
So we added the Friday tech time to get people through. My goal is 125 cars. Do I think we'll beat that? Yes. Do I think we'll blow it out of the water? I hope so. I do. But I'd rather have 125 good quality cars running with a good quality show, other than 200 cars and not have the quality of show. Mm-hmm. I really would.
Yeah. You know, when we're sitting there looking, and we have hit on that, 170 cars for a cleanup show or a fair show or whatever. When I was thinking where you were at, that 120, 125 mark, and I was like, if we can get to there, that'd be really awesome. And then they just keep piling in, and then you start sweating it. You're like, there's no way we're going to get all these cars through tech. Holy shit, they're still coming through the gates. Yeah, it worked out because you cashed a check that night.
I cashed a check. Yes, I did that night. I won one of the stock features that night. So.
And sent it.
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was all.
Because
I don't even remember that show.
Didn't two checks went to Illinois that night.
Nice won the street stock class also that night.
Yeah. And
then actually,
there was a shitload of cars in the street stock.
Trent Slight won the big gut and go payout. So me and Trent, actually Trent was one of the first guys I derbied with. But that's where I built compacts with, was me and Trent. So that's
he won 3K in a sedan.
Yeah,
they built
Grand Prix.
2 days.
Yeah,
I think
8 hours.
8 hours is what they had.
Yeah.
But that's coming from Clayton, so he might be completely full of shit.
Yeah.
But
that was the night I got that picture of Nice sitting up at the food shack.
Yeah, I think old Brent Potter took that one. Him sitting up there, which Brent's been a huge asset. He's done these title belts and stuff for our show. There's a lot of guys that have stood behind me on this.
I'm going to ask. We were talking off air. You do have some plans for next year?
Yeah.
A little bit?
Yep, just a little bit still. I want to get through September 1st, and that's what I've told everybody. I want to get through this show, and then we can talk. I do not want a lot of shows. I don't. I asked the guys that helped me, about 5 or 6 shows is all they want to do. I got, like I said, the 1-year-old son now, and I still want to run a lot. So that's about a couple more for next year.
So it's out there.
I was really hoping he was wanting to come across the river and put some shows on.
Yeah.
But I would rather him come run.
I want to run more next year. I do. I say that. I ran a fair amount this year. I ran less than normal, which was to be expected. But
well, trust me, it just keeps dwindling.
I
you
know.
Keep putting derbies on.
Yep.
Because you finally turn your hobby into a job.
Yep.
And
I enjoy doing putting it on. This is the first year I've really actually, which Candace is still a big part of this. She's one that let me run the Domination Motorsports down here and stuff. She trusted me with it. But as far as the promoting side of it and stuff, I'm the one that's been promoting on the Facebook page and all this. That was new to me because before all I was a tech. I got paid to answer phone calls and show up in tech cars. I didn't really have nothing to do with the promoting side or any of that.
It's a whole different damn ballgame.
It is. And so far it's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed it.
My deal is whenever you're about a week out on that show and you're trying to get your stuff done and trying to get all of your ducks in a row and your phone won't stop ringing.
Yep.
We figured it out before Mother's Day Madness. I think I had over 600 calls in a week period, and I don't know how many text messages.
Yep, that's Blizzard Bash. You can tell when Blizzard Bash going up. That's usually when my phone starts really going off the hook. Plus, I'm building for Metal Mayhem, which is the week after my show, so I've got that to get in there too.
I've had a rough weekend. I'm double fisting.
I see that.
I'll
stick to Twisted Tea and was that Bacardi?
Bacardi.
I'll stick to the Mellow Yellow over here.
We should be able to send some cars his direction for that October show.
You guys are having a show, the week before, right?
Yeah,
before.
That's what I see.
So if anybody's got anything left, I'm sure.
Yeah, which I don't know what you're doing for plates, but I'd say we're going to go about the same route we did last year.
Yep.
think we allowed 10 last year instead of 8. I think we gave him
I
2
think
extra
I think we
plates.
gave him 2. I think we gave 8 in the stock, and then we gave him 10 in the stock and 12 in the street stock.
We're giving them 14 in the street stock.
Oh, so that'd be perfect for these guys.
Yeah.
So if it did bend in front of a player,
whatever,
they
yeah.
can pull it and put 2 more on it. Yeah.
Which I'm hoping that him having that cleanup show the weekend after drops our car count.
Which we have said this. I can't,
I know everybody thinks I'm insane for saying
but
that.
But it's a different. Really though, is it Paris again? Correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, it's 2 different spectrums, though. It really is. So
right.
You don't have a lot of guys intermingling. You have your few gut and go guys. I know they come over and run quite a bit. But as far as your full size guys, they're staying
right
split. I mean,
we seen more Illinois stuff last year
at the cleanup.
Yeah. Well, actually, last year in general, because of
it was the number 51. Adam Mullet Man. Isn't he from Illinois?
I'm not sure. No, it was 2020 that we had all the Illinois
COVID year.
Yeah,
because we had nowhere to run.
Right.
Yeah, because y'all's law sucked balls.
It was bad.
Because we had, Suthler and all those guys were coming over, and honestly, our Missouri guys were loving it.
Yeah,
new faces.
100%. That's why I don't like running around home a lot. It's the same buddies beating on the same people, and no matter what, somebody's mad afterwards. I don't care what you do, who wins, somebody's upset.
You might not have touched that guy the entire derby, except to get his ass unhung once, but you hit me.
Yeah.
I unhung you, prick.
Yeah,
well, a lot of times I catch the brunt of that shit over here. I really do, because, they'll be like, well, why were you letting them do that? I was like, I don't know, they brought 6 cars. What am I supposed to do? Brought 6 cars out of the same shop.
Yep.
Can't go out there and make them nose each other up before they run against these other guys.
It's hard. It's hard at times. I mean, as a official on the track, I never want to be put in the spot to make that call. I'd wish the drivers would take care of it themselves. It's hard.
A lot of times they do. We see it a lot with the Eddie boys.
Yep.
They'll come down and run against each other.
They'll junk their own shit. They don't care.
I run into it with Rob, Trey, Eddie, all those guys.
You're going to have it wherever you go. You are. It's
the crowd and the other drivers need to understand at a certain point, though, that I can't get the cars there, tech them, officiate them, and drive them.
No.
You can't do all of it. At some point, you got to leave some of that to the drivers. If you want them to stop team driving, you better give a head nod to somebody else out there and be like, hey, let's get them spread apart. Just like somebody that's sandbagging, I won't hardly call a sandbagger. Take care of it, guys.
Yep.
Make them stop.
And then
you're the only ones that have control of that.
We have spoke on it so much. All these guys in the crowd, he's sandbagging. We've all said it. Go build a car.
I more this year. I've seen more people starting to actually go after the guys that they normally would leave alone and would win it. And people have always asked me, well, why do they always win and stuff? I said, guys, you're not going to beat somebody at their own game. If they're the ones that are used to driving smart and you're used to running hard, you're not going to go out there and beat them at driving smart. You're not going to do it. Beat them at your own game where you feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But then by the time they decide maybe to hit that guy, their car's used up already and they got one good hit left. You're not going to take him out with one hit.
And that's what I've told them. They're like, well, he didn't do anything. I was making him stop. Like, you were down there beating on that dead car because you wanted to put on a show. Make him turn his shit up.
Yep.
Make him run his car.
Yeah.
Because you're the only one that can make him change his driving style.
You're exactly right.
If you've got 3 guys that are beating on that sandbagger at this point, or, at least stroking him every once in a while, he's not going to be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to drive around no more.
Yes.
And I'm not going to try to beat a dead horse, but perfect example. Justin Morgan is the most backwards driving sumbitch I know in a new style Ford, period.
Ever met.
Until you make him not.
Right.
Yep.
And they did at Boone County. That was the first time I've ever seen anybody make that dude drive.
Yep. And it was drive.
And it was Danny that did it.
Yep.
Danny Weaver, which is he runs with Eddie Boys.
Okay.
And he had a nasty new style Ford.
Yep.
And they didn't really have anything against each other.
But they got it on from jump.
From the drop of that flag, Weaver was all over Justin Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And by the end of it, Morgan had turned his car around and was driving the shit out of
Stood it up.
Yeah.
Bellied, frame rails on the ground.
But he got Weaver. I mean, they were both equally as junk at the end of that. But it was badass watching Justin switch his drive style up, because I don't think anybody knew that he could drive like that.
And a lot of people don't realize a lot of guys can drive like that if they have to. I mean, they can, and they're good, and they're good at it.
Because nothing against Morgan, but his car wasn't half the car that Weaver had. I mean, and I'll be 100% with that, because like you see
at your show, down tubes.
No, like you see at your shows, you've got people that build to the top side of your rules, and you got people that build to the bottom side, and that's the exact case that we see in there. You know, a lot of times Justin's front suspension is loose.
It's all down to the driver. I mean, always got accused of letting Matt Neese cheat. Always. Well, if anybody knows Neese, he's going to build to the lower side. He's not pushing everything. That guy can drive a car.
Right.
And that's what it was. I mean, he could always drive.
And I mean, we've seen him drive street stock. He came down last fall to our show in an 03.
9802.
Was it?
Yep, in 9802.
And then he turns around and takes a Galaxy to your first show.
Yep.
I mean,
never know what to do.
Yeah, I've seen him in Bowling Green and I think a Metric GM.
No, I never ran Metric GM. Ran Square Body over there, probably.
Was it?
Yeah. But he could drive. I mean, but everybody always thought he was overbuilding or pushing. No, the guy's just a driver. And
somebody called him smooth out on Facebook the other day.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was up that Mount Sterling Derby.
Was it? Oh.
It was pretty
I don't know
fun.
who this. I can't even remember. I don't know who this guy is, but he didn't hit nobody the whole show.
Yeah.
Did he cash a check?
No, he didn't. He still came up short, I guess.
See?
I think his clutch went out about 9th.
But see, we run into that shit with Rob and all those guys, even the Paris guys we run into it with. Well, they're good. They build good cars. They can drive them. Because if you can build a good car and you can't drive, you're still not doing any good.
Yep.
And if you can't build a car but you can drive, you're still going to fall up short. But you get like Rob and them and Trey Hammond and all those guys, they build really good shit. But they take their time instead of these other guys that you see on Snapchat in the bar and shit on weekends. Those guys are in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm in that shop. I mean, any free second for the most part.
Yeah, he's constantly in the shop.
Well, and I've talked to Jerry a million times about it, that car that he took to Border Wars.
Yep.
The amount of hours he had in welding.
Yeah.
Rust repair.
I mean, yeah. It's all the little things. I mean, it is.
He took somebody's 2 full work weeks.
For rust repair in the body.
Yeah. That was before building the car.
Yeah.
That was just fixing rust.
Well, let's go into Border Wars. You guys went up to Border Wars. That was your first trip up there,
First trip up, yep. Was an awesome experience overall. It was. From the moment we pulled in, Andrew Haney and the Fair Board were so welcoming to us as drivers. I mean, that's the part that really caught my eye, was how willing they were to help if we needed something. Like Jerry ran out of oxygen. Andrew went and got it from his own shop and went and told us where to get it refilled at if we needed more. They didn't like our body spacers the way we had them done. Andrew went and had the local shop cut them with the bands off for us real quick and bring them back to us to get the cars changed. That part of that show was phenomenal.
And see, this is what I like to hear, because people don't know that stuff.
No.
This isn't stuff that was on, the live feed and stuff like that. This is all that behind the scenes stuff that people need to know about. That's what makes these shows big.
Yes, and Andrew, he's coming down to run September 17th himself. So
cool
for us to go up there and supporting that, and him and a couple other guys are coming down.
There's a few things I'd like to see different on the format of that Border Wars.
Yeah, a little bit. It was fun though. The suspense of not knowing who you're going to run against and everything. I liked it. I did. It still could be. Yes, everything could always have a few tweaks worked out of it. No matter what, nothing's ever going to be perfect. But overall, it was a good time.
Now we do know the reason. If anybody who watched the live feed of that Derby, you got brought up because you got the Gladiator Award after your heat. That was Terry was finishing a car for that show.
Yeah,
correct?
Well, he had not started on that one yet. So we over the winter. Last year, about November, we were talking about where we all wanted to run. We decided to run Sturgis at the team show. That was going to be me, Jerry, Terry, and Tyler Hill was who was going to be. That was in November. Then also the other show, Jerry pretty much told Terry to pick his 2 big shows he wanted to run this year, and that was one of them. And then me and Terry were persistent on going to Border Wars. Terry liked the idea, and I liked it. everybody else was kind of wishy-washy about it. Well, it took me and Terry constant on everybody to finally get them signed up. Nobody would sign up. Well, Tony Miller was actually the first. I said, Tony, you sign up, I'll sign up. Well, Tony actually signed up. And from there, we all signed up. And that was our show that we were planning on going to, all of us. And then, of course, the accident happened. And but yeah, so that's the reason we still went out there. We didn't go out there with a full team or whatever, but the reason we were still going was that was Terry's last show that he was signed up to run.
Sturgis was awesome to watch.
Sturgis was fun. It was.
I don't know that I've ever seen a rear end fall.
Yeah.
Ever.
Lee Springs broke. Shackles broke. The 3H chain snapped.
Clinton Bozarth run.
Well, it was actually Watkins. Yeah. The heat, though, is what made that. We had no intentions going back out after the heat. We originally, if it came down to me, Jerry, and Tyler, for some reason, all three of us would have been running at the end. We were junking each other in the heat. We had no intentions of running that feature that weekend. We were there to have fun, and we ran with 3 cars ultimately. Left Terry as our 4th member, of course. And actually, we did win our heat. Me and Tyler were still running there at the end. That feeling that night was cloud 9.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We were sitting there watching it from my living room.
Yep.
And it was just cool as shit.
It was fate. I mean, it really was.
Yeah.
Especially with what you took.
Oh, yeah, our body Mopars. Me and Tyler had our body, and Jerry had an 09. But I told Tyler, let's take these R bodies. It'll be different.
Then I get a Snapchat that says, Lieutenant Dan, you ain't got no legs.
Yeah, he'll rear end.
And leave it to Cordell to do it.
Yeah, he'll rear end decide to leave the chat. Yeah. So, actually, that rear end is actually in my car for mayhem, so I'm hoping it don't decide to exit again. It had been in timeout until now.
Well, we were watching, and I was like, no, I said, is it going to come completely off from underneath that?
I felt it. I should have stayed put. I felt it moving. And I think all that was holding it in was one last rear end chain, I think. And, she decided to go on out.
But what was so cool is usually a big show like that, it does take a little bit to get wound up. But Mark Elliott said they're bored.
Yep.
And all you hear is, wah! Well, yep, it's on now.
Jerry and Tyler really wanted to drive conservative, Jerry especially. And everybody's doing a thing, nobody hitting anything. And all 3 of us were kind of in a line there. And I actually had my nose out and Jerry was facing the opposite direction. And I revved it up to get his attention. He looked at me, and I held my hands up like I was praying. I asked for forgiveness. I dropped the hammer. I said I was done. We had no intentions of winning it. I was ready to put on a show.
That is the part that I like about you, because when you do go to these big shows, such as Sturgis, the Wicked Show, Border Wars, wherever, it gets boring to watch as a spectator to watch the Blizzard Bash. You've got all these guys on a Sunday. You're running for $30,000 on a national team side, and you are hitting people. Your grandma can hit harder than a lot of that stuff is. When it starts. No, not you.
And I like driving like that. I do. I like driving hard. I can drive smart just as good as the next person, I feel. I mean, I'll show it here and there. My wife, though, hates when I drive smart.
See, we talked about that on the podcast. It's like she gets like pissed.
She hates it. And usually she'll end up taping. She's like, I don't know why I just taped that son of a bitch. You didn't hit nothing. And that was boring. And usually when she ends up taping, that's when I went. And then a couple times she had, like Granite City, when I went down there and had one of the best Mad Dog runs I've ever could put. And she didn't go, and then, of course, then she upset. Now you drive hard, but she was happy I brought home the Mad Dog that night.
Yeah.
But that's what she likes to drive. I mean, she likes my drive like that.
Which she has drove.
She's driving again this year.
Powder Puff.
No.
Well, she did a Powder Puff.
She done Bowling Green a couple times.
Yep.
And she leaves it flat on the floor. She don't know how to lift. She is actually going to run Pleasant Hill.
Oh.
In the 22nd show.
Okay.
I was supposed to do it for the 17th. I realize I'm probably going to need her help more than her running. So we're building her a Mopar, though, for the 22nd. So I told her she could run this year again.
Did her and Elena Brown go to school together or something? Because evidently they drive the exact same.
Yeah.
Maybe because both one husband and one dad is a little wide open, when they need to be.
Yes.
We have talked so much your driving style. Is there a flip? Is there a switch that just gets flipped to as soon as you pull out there, you know what you're doing, or
no? I don't know if I could say mentally prepare myself going somewhere, but I do. I have in my mind how I'm going to drive that night before I even go. Like Brown County a couple weeks ago, me, Jerry, and Tony went up and ran. I ran Jerry's brother-in-law Sean's car that night. I had no intentions of running. Sean couldn't make it. I ran Terry's roof sign that night, actually. I had full intentions. The deal was I was to drive like Terry. I mean, it was my mindset. So I drove smart and hard when I needed to. Jerry, myself, and Tony ended up taking 1, 2, 3 again. Enjoyed every second of it. Wentzville, we went down there. I had intentions of driving smart and hard. Then there's other times where I've went somewhere and it's like Shelbina. I had no intentions of winning Shelbina. It was to junk that car. Palmyra was to junk the car. I mean, all of them. It's usually to junk the cars. But before I go to a show, it's usually in my mind what I'm going to do that night.
Well, I will say at Shelbina, this happened right in front of me, and I've never seen somebody come out of the driver's seat so fast in my life.
I was gone.
I was standing on the dirt, and I hit my headset, and I was like, Jerry, is he still in that car? Where'd he go?
Yeah.
And Jerry was like, I think he's getting out of the floorboard.
I was getting out of the floorboard. Funny thing is, I've never had that happen. I mean, that's the first time I wear an open face helmet. Everybody knows that. First time I've ever ate the steering wheel. Anyway, I picked myself up on the floorboard. I'm like, how did I lose my footing? I never have lost it. I mean, it was a hard hit, but it wasn't my hardest hit. But I was moving along crap. Anyway, I blew the sole off my shoe. That's actually what happened. Went to go get the truck. I'm like, what the hell? Something feels funny. Walk and look down. Yeah, well, it's because half my sole's hanging off.
Because you come across in front of
and
me, and I thought, and he just went, gone. I was like, is he all right? Then you see him pop back up. Kind of did this.
Yeah,
I saw you kind of touch your face.
I was bleeding. My nose took about 3 weeks before I could touch it. And bleeding at the mouth, but it was worth it. It was fun.
It was fun. Is that car dead yet?
No.
Oh, God.
It's out back.
It's
going back to its rightful owner, though.
Is it?
Yeah. I've had bad luck with it. He's had bad luck with it. I think he's still mad at me for the first time when I sold it. I originally built that car back in 2020 for the Carrollton Team Show. And then COVID, of course, happened to cancel it. Well, Missouri was running pretty much the same rules that year, and Mr. Doyle decided he needed a car to run, so that one was done. So, yeah, so I think it's still mad at me for selling it after I've done all the work.
Shelbina, I expected that to be a lot better. Derby, that track was junk.
I wish that track would have been, if that track had been good, it would have been a very good show.
Well, that monster truck deal the night before is what screwed us.
That's what they were saying, yeah.
They dug a hole out there and put cars in it.
Oh, gotcha.
And then they were trying to pack it with the tractor that's meant not
for no compaction.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are coming, if you know anybody that's coming tomorrow,
Track better?
Track's fixed.
Yeah, the track has been open the entire time. They actually dug it up, did what they needed to do, and then, resealed it.
Yes, I know a couple guys from Illinois actually coming over tomorrow to run.
See, there we go.
It should be another decent show. That's why we're starting so early. I mean, I'm trying to start that tech at 10. I'm going to start the show at 4.
I mean, that's the thing when you do a Monday show when everybody's off on Monday, but nobody's off on Tuesday.
Nobody's off on Tuesday.
Except me.
Right.
Because I got smart.
I have to be in Monette.
Yes. Yeah, so you get to leave.
I'll have to leave about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Might get a few hours of sleep. But it sucks as a promoter side because we feel for the drivers because you guys at Shelbina in July, we're going to get rowdy.
Oh, we had full intentions of being rowdy.
I mean, that shit was going to get wild.
Yeah.
And then I look out there in 7 minutes, everybody's stuck.
Everybody was stuck. Everybody, pretty much. Yeah.
And I've got people yelling at me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I guess we can move everybody's vehicles out there in the pits and we can do it out there.
Yeah. Sometimes the track wins, unfortunately. I mean, it's not the first show it's happened at. It's not going to be the last.
We had 3 or 4 inches of rain that week.
Yep.
Was it 5?
It was 5. I know it was pretty healthy that week.
Yeah. But here's the deal. I mean, we really do. We take pride in any track that we get to control of either A, building, or B, the watering part of it.
Paris was a little slick.
It was slime on the top, but nobody got stuck. They were slowed down just a smidge, but the last feature was unreal.
Yep.
Stupid, fast pace. So
we've had 2 tracks that were trashed this year.
Yes.
Shelby and Salisbury.
Yep.
We've been fortunate at Pleasant Hill with good tracks. They have took a lot of pride in having us down there and having the shows there, especially Sonny McKinnon and Bill Miller. And I know Bill has took a lot of pride from that last show to this one, keeping that track dialed in.
Because that one corner, I know I had talked to Alan Brown, one corner always gets
One
soft.
corner there always gets off no matter what. I mean, it does.
Yep, if I'm looking as from the pit side, the one all the way up by the spectator,
Yep.
he said that's all.
It's always been soft. Yep.
And I think a lot of that is to do with the tractor pull. You know, you guys, they run the tractor pull the night before, right?
Yeah, during the fair, yeah, it'd be the night before.
So it's the whole center is just unreal, stupid concrete hard.
Yep.
But then they don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the outside edges.
That's one thing that we get so many compliments about the Paris track. That thing, I threw all the rubber off the back of my truck, making a video before the Derby. And you can leave black marks on it.
Mm-hmm. But in that same token, you can't have 6,000-pound cars throwing
45.
dust everywhere.
No, you can't.
Because you can't see.
Well, and corner to corner on that track with one of these cars that runs.
Figured it up.
Good.
It was roughly 300 foot from one corner to
Perfect.
the
next.
Yeah. See, another one of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I know you. We touched on the Border Wars. Didn't go how you wanted it to go.
I would like to ran longer. One dumb shot is what run my weekend, and actually blew the motor there shortly after.
Well, Jerry's dumb luck.
Yeah, Jerry, I feel like had the car to win it that night. And the Kitchell wheeled it down to third for us. Jason Ippinson got 6th from Illinois, and then Jerry was 10th. I feel like that was pretty good for only having the 3 cars in the feature for Illinois.
Dude, how much did we talk about Kitchell since we started this podcast?
Yeah,
it's like he had an escalator that's going straight to the bank.
Yeah.
And it was no matter, it was Peoria. It was Blizzard Bash, Carnage.
Yep.
He was just running everywhere.
Kitchell's a wheel man. He's one of the best. He was a hidden gem there for a long time, I guess, around home until Jerry. Well, there a couple years ago, and they needed to find another member. And I said, Jerry, you know who you need to ask. And I said, if you guys want to be cashing some money out there, because this guy can drive. It wasn't necessarily James's build style or whatever, but he can wheel anything. And he's a guy that no matter what you do, you're not going to get him worked up.
No. It's like he never breaks his pace that he wants. I know Adam Lemonager. I've known Adam a long time. I talked to him on the phone before we got him on the podcast. I said, who are you taking to Spring X? And he told me. And I was like, who? He said, Austin Knorr. He said, I'm telling you. He said, he's not that big of a name right now. He said, but wait till this weekend. He said he's going to be. And it was like, holy shit, who is this dude?
Yes.
Well, that's the big deal. You never know who that next person's going to be. These bigger shows and stuff that these new guys are showing up to, I compare it to Nashville whenever you go into these bars during the day. You could be watching
the next big thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great derby drivers out there that you don't see on the national scale.
They don't want to do that.
They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. There are several great derby drivers around this area that don't want that I know could go compete with any one of them.
Right. There's a lot of old school guys that still run locally that won't ever get to that. They won't ever go to that big
There's
stage.
a couple old school guys from over this way coming over to run the 17th in the hobo class.
Yeah, I know a couple of them. And I personally talked to him and said, hey, you going such and such? He was like, nope, we're going to go to P Hill. I was like, stock? He's like, mm-hmm.
Yep.
I was like, oh, shit.
They're going to be, they'll be tough. That's their driving, that's their build.
And what they're taking, that is them.
Yep.
They're not having to build out of their comfortable spectrum, as I would put it.
Yeah.
It'll be something nasty. It'll either be a deuce and a quarter or a glass house or something like that. That's what they all. That's his.
Did you open up your hobo stock for Old Iron too?
Oh yeah, it's in a year in ours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was what always killed me about Blizzard Bash.
Yeah.
Your stock car, 80 and newer. Why?
There's a lot of shows that way, and I think it used to be a little worse that the old iron would scare people off, but you can compete with the new
cares
style
anymore.
now. You can.
Especially with our stock rules, like it's such a level playing field.
And I think your stock rules are a little bit different.
He's lighter.
We're lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's stock body bolt still.
Which his stuff is perfect for whenever they're done running his stuff to build to our stock rules, because then you're allowed a couple more plates, your down tubes, tank protector.
No down tubes?
Front tube.
You get 2 down tubes up front. That's it. In the middle of the door. No gas tank protector. Stock body bolts. 12 inches welded on the doors. 4 spots of wire bolts in the trunk, and 4 spots of wire bolts on the hood. 5/8 bolts in the core support. About it.
That's it.
A loaded factory bumper. No homemade bumpers. Stock tranny. Lower cradle only. Stock rear end. 31 spline or less.
Which that Mopar mine, it's perfect. It's still got the 7.5 under it. So.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. It doesn't have enough horsepower to spin them. To spin no axles.
It's still got a little stock.
The raffle car don't have enough horsepower either to spin them, so.
Okay.
It'll be just fine.
But you were talking, well, you put the hybrid in it, right?
Yep, 1012 hybrid, 456 gears, the Raptor Fab full spool. Like I said, everything in that car was for it to win, or to compete, or for the Mad Dog, whatever. It was, like I said, I built it as if I was running it. And actually, I spent more time on stuff, because there's some stuff where I would use the torch on for my car cutting. It was a cutoff wheel, because I wanted it, I don't know, it was just me. But I didn't want somebody to feel like it was shortchanged or a corner cut here or there.
Now we're talking to a builder and driver and promoter and tech. Why the 1012 hybrid? What advantage do you see over the 9-inch with the 31 spline?
You can get a 31 spline 9-inch. My problem with 9-inch is I always blow the hog head out of them. Comes back to the horsepower side of things.
100%.
Yeah.
So the people who aren't the gearheads, the hog head, are you talking
the center section, what you unbolt on the 9-inch? Yep. The pinion. The
so
last 2 9-inches I ran broke 2 of them.
Do you have the problem with the pinion bolt?
No.
Coming out of behind the yoke?
No, shearing the pinion or shearing the hog head itself off.
So you figured out that the hybrid you like better
I like
for that.
Well,
purpose.
and then the 10 bolts, they're factory already jigged for a coil sprung car versus the 9-inch where you have to put the ears on it and stuff, which we allow. But I mean, the 10 bolt goes right in the housing. So, and the 10 bolts has got readily available in the cars out back for the most part. So to make a hybrid, or the 12 bolts for the axles and stuff. I don't have.
See, I think if I was going to build a rear end right now, it would probably be an 8 3/4.
Yep, which
just because I've got 3 or 4 of them laying around.
Yeah, I mean, I got a dozen 8 3/4 probably from all my Chryslers.
And they're not bad rear ends.
No, they're not. They're factory 30 spline. Yeah. That's what I normally run in my hobo car myself.
I mean, we had an Adam Williams built 8.8.
Yep.
We figured out it does not like 700 horsepower.
And there are several of those 8 3/4 that I've got laying around that are factory posi tracker.
Yep.
With decent gears on them.
I mean, you can get decent gears in a Mopar or anything, really.
So we have touched on Border Wars. We have touched on your great car counts that you had the first 2. Are we going to be able to see you running somewhere other than the Mayhem if that gets done?
For this year?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Okay.
I want to say yes. I don't know. I'm lucky to have the wife that I do to allow me to spend all my free time out in the shop. I know I probably owe more time to them, but we'll see. If little man wasn't able to come out in the shop with me, I'm glad she lets him. I would have to be in the house more. But if you go to take him out of the shop, he is pissed off.
Well, that's a lot of times, as we've always talked about the support group, that people get behind them. Taylor has always been behind you.
100% behind me on everything.
Even when you were just going to Blizzard Bash, she would always,
she was
while
always
you were
there.
just teching, she was always there. She was helping, from jump.
She was my big shop help for years that I had. That's all I had. Been very fortunate with Jake Hull, who comes out all the time to help me with stuff. Mark Lindsay's another one that stops by quite a bit. But other than that, all I had was Taylor. I mean, it was whether it's she was helping me pull motors, put them in. I remember coming back from a vacation. We'd been gone for 4 days out to Bash for Cash. Drove 8 hours home that night. I was running Mayhem that year. When we got home, she helped me pull the motor and tranny because I'd been losing sleep over it because I something was wrong with the clutch, and I couldn't. And anyway, when we got home from the 8-hour trip, she went out there and we pulled the motor and tranny that night and put it back in to make sure it was right so I could sleep. Because when something's not right, I don't sleep. There's been numerous times I go down and shop my underwear. I'll sit there and like, shit, I gotta go down there.
We've talked about that a lot. Whenever you get home from a show, there's the guys that won't unload their car for 3 or 4 days, and then you got the guy that's like, man, what happened?
Yep.
What caused that? And he's got his car off the trailer that night.
Yeah, my Wentzville car, though, from this year, we went down there and ran. I got second, Jerry won. The car died there at the end and would not refire. Well, finally it refired, and I guess I was out of time anyway, ended up hitting Jerry head on. And drove it off track, but that car still got me puzzled and pissed off a little bit. It's been outside in timeout, and I ain't touched it. I need to figure out what happened. Something happened there, and normally I would be right on that, figuring it out, but just haven't had time since then, so...
You know, we had Blake on last week, you know, figuring stuff out, you know, where their group, every one of them will tell you Blake is the brains. He's the builder. It's just how his mentality works. But he has, you know, a motor builder and a tuner of his dad, you know, figuring out, you know, if it comes up, is it starving the front bowl?
Yep.
You know, and a lot of people, they're just derby guys. Bullshit.
Yep.
A lot of them are really, really smart.
A lot of your derby drivers are very intelligent. I mean, there's a lot that goes into these builds, whether it be angles and stuff, and the physics behind it all, and setting up something this reason that way. And just like you were talking about, like all our carburetor work I do for pretty much me and all the buddies, it was just something, that carburetor is probably one of the most important parts on that car. If your car's dying every hit, your battery's only going to last so long, or you're going to be a sitting duck. The ultimate goal is for that car to never die when you hit and have that carburetor set right.
I was so impressed with my car out there at Blizzard Bash, which I know, I mean, I had a 20-minute run on it in the stock class in 18 whenever I went out there. I never had to restart that car the whole time I was out there.
I've had to restart one of my cars once in a year.
And the whole time from when I pulled on the track, I started it outside the tunnel until I shut it off when the transmission went out of it. Never had to restart that car.
Yep.
Which, are you talking about the one at that you had at Border Wars where it died? Because, I mean, didn't something decided to exit out
they wouldn't even restart, so I'm not counting that one. That one, the can was broken 3 spots, the 2 rods are hanging out the pan on the side of the block.
Now, how? Now, is that something that you, right there, you know, you said you usually try to figure it out?
Yeah, so, honestly, it was a $20 part that shouldn't have ever been in there. Is what it was in that high horse engine and turning that many RPMs. On that hit, I think, when the impact, it had a cast timing gear in it. When I hit that guy, as hard as I was turning, as hard as I was running, I think it cracked then. And we talked to one of the motor builders, and then when I got on it again, it came apart. And then, we went downhill from there in a hurry.
Yeah, that sucked.
Yep.
Because we were
part of it. I've blew up my fair share of engines. I used to get upset, and now I kind of laugh and go on, try to figure out the next one.
You know, being in the motorsports game for so long, everybody, you know, what's that meme you always see? Got a kid crying.
Yeah, I get that said to me all the time.
After about the dozen, you're just like, all right, we're good.
Well, especially when you start going to play with horsepower and more and more and more, you're going to find the weak link. Horsepower's not always the answer. It's rarely in Derby, and is it the answer?
Correct.
But is it fun? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
We have hit on progression for so much. You know, back in the day, we've talked, you used to be able to go to Shelbina in the heyday of the Morgans, the Schaefers, the Shelbyville guys, the Mayhaffies. 80% of them probably had a bone stock 318.
Yep.
with a decent Holley carburetor on the top, full alternators, you name it, that's what they run. And you couldn't kill the son of a bitch.
No.
And then you're just like, okay, I found this 327. I'm going to see if we can turn this one up a little bit. And then it progressed to the 350. Now you've got D-stroke screaming 10,000 RPM.
That little RPM engine's fun.
And you've got 430s Yeah,
385 D strokes that are running 800 horsepower behind a derby car, and everybody's like, CJ, I'd ask him, dude, why? Why do you need this? He said, because if he did say I like to party. I said, not good enough answer. And I said, why? He said, if I ever get into a spot on a good track that, he said, because a lot of times it's that 3-on-1, 4-on-1, they're trying to get you in he said, I want to be able to push the entire pile.
Yep.
Good enough. You gave me an answer.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I've seen that get him out of some spots.
And see, my stuff's, I like a decently built motor with a good gear.
A gear will make any motor twice as much of what it is.
I've told a whole bunch of kids starting out, I'm like, you can take a trash motor and put a set of 513s behind it, and you've got a motor.
You do.
It takes the factory gearing and it just throws it right out the window, and then you're just going with whatever the rear end wants to give it.
Well, I mean, you run a 513 with a 25-inch tall tire behind a stock motor, it's going to turn on, just like that. And that's what I've tried to tell those kids. I'm like, that's how that works. And then whenever you get a little money to build your motor, you can start playing with the gears in the rear end.
Mm-hmm.
Tire size and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody ever takes that stuff into consideration. You know, you got the guy that's got a 500 horse motor. Well, he buys this big rear end or good rear end, and it's got, 488s in it. Well, your motor's not doing anything at that point. Yep. You're just out there dry wrapping your motor.
And that's, even I have talked to guys that killer motor. Was it the second show? Alan Brown's got a motor built by CJ. He did a tire change. It affected how the motor ran with the tire change with that rear end.
Uh-huh.
People...
that's what... everybody thinks you just knock the windows out of these cars and go out there and run them into other cars. It's not like that anymore.
Nope.
No.
That's what the gut and go class is for.
It is, yes. And you can still do that and have fun and win in that class. If you're getting into the street stock build or whatever, any limited weld, modified, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, and people just can't grasp it.
Well, like that little
you do what?
That little Mopar mine doesn't know worth a shit. Because it's got that factory rear end in it. I mean, I don't have to worry about getting stuck. I can tell you that.
Correct. Yeah, you're not gonna overspend the track.
I'm working to piss out of the motor the whole time out there.
Yeah, you ain't gonna overdo it. So.
Which is part of my transmission problem with that car. I mean, I know it is. It's putting a lot more stress on transmission trying to pull shit around.
Yep.
Because everybody knows those Dodge transmissions are weak anyway.
Yes.
I think you've got a 19 that can say that too.
Talking about cars.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to find a 3-speed.
5-speed.
See, I was going to say if anybody around had a 3-speed, it probably would be him.
3-speed Mopar.
I got a 5-speed Mopar. That's what's behind my Mopar motor. Of course, I love it, but
see,
3 speeds are good.
I don't know if I'm coordinated enough to run a 5-speed.
If Cordell Hansen is coordinated enough, so are you. Because you're usually never getting out of second.
We're going to have to do something because I'm about out of 727s. About every second derby, I get to put one of those in. I'd never been so mad. I'd been talking to Hemi before I went to Blizzard Bash.
Yep.
He kind of helped me piece that car together, and he swore up and down. I had a 727 in it to start out with, and he's like, no, get rid of it, put that 904 in it. And I'm like, are you sure? Yeah, you'll be fine. I put it in there, and that's exactly, And then I put another 904 in it and burn it up. And I was like, okay, all these are done. These are going to the junkyard right now. And I ended up buying that car off of Rob Hewart that he had got from Tony Cardwell.
Yep.
And it had a 727 in it. And I've still actually got that training.
Yep. Well, dude, we have touched on a lot of stuff today. Anybody listening, I mean, this thing's going to air after Monday's show anyways, right. So the next 2 weeks, you've got Madison September 10th. Kind of, I mean, if you know the guys who are doing Madison, you know what their rules are. And then the very next weekend, you've got Mr. Austin's big show.
Yeah, I hope it's big. I do.
You don't have to hope on that.
I do. Not for me. For the guy we're doing this for.
I'm thinking this one is gonna. I'm thinking you're gonna look over and just go, "Oh shit."
I hope to. I do. I mean, I hope to have them oh shit moments all day, as long as it all runs smooth in the end, and everything goes good.
Oh, you'll have panic moments, but you'll be all right.
Yeah.
We always kind of say it's kind of like looking at a duck on the water. He looks like he's just chilling his shit up on top, but underwater, if you could see him, he's going a mile a minute.
Yep.
So we hope for everything to run smooth. I can't be there early, but I will definitely be there. I know he's coming over.
As long as
I'm going to
have
to deal with his drunk. If he's not working, he said he's
if I
going
got a
over.
car, I won't be that drunk.
Okay, just as long as because if you
Before
just
I
go
ride.
over for a cornhole tournament, I'm gonna have to bring the truck because I'm probably just gonna have to
Throw
throw
me
you
in
in
the
the bed.
We got a skid steer to load you, so
I
we're good.
was shit hammered. I wasn't bad at the Derby. It was after the Derby that I got completely towed down.
That's when everything kind of hit it. One's on the way home. That was a fun hour and 20 minutes. It was really fun.
No, the support group that I have behind me for this show is that's who I need to thank. It's all them people. I mean, there's so many of them. But that's where the thanks need to come in. Because me as one person, I can only do so much. It's the support group behind it that's really pushing and helping.
Well, don't you
get all
have
this-
3 of our techs?
Well, I'd have Jerry, Tony, and Cedric. Yeah. I mean, Chad Bostic helps, Jake Hull, Eric Dorsey, Corey Hilgenbrink, Dallas Dieter are the compact techs. Keith Dawson helps us on the full size. And then have a couple other guys coming in for this show here. Going to need extra hands. So got some from different areas, so everybody feels like they're getting a fair shake. So got a couple guys coming from central Iowa and another one coming from eastern Illinois. So
there you go.
So, this thing on the 17th, cornhole's going to start at 9.
8.
Registration
at 8.
Registration
Cornhole
at 8. Cornhole starts at 9.
Yep.
Don't be bringing no ringer partners because it's going to be blind
draw.
For this
And
type
I
of
think you can
payout.
register on that app too.
Yeah, on the app, yeah. There's a link on Facebook. Then you go to Scoreholio, I think is what's on.
Yeah.
And you register on there.
Scoreholio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Right here.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I think there's 100 and some players already entered. Of course, day of, you're going to have people enter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't matter. I know they were capping it at 240 just to be safe. I don't think they'll hit that, but even still, 50-some teams already is awesome.
Well, let's see. This will air the week before. So, are they going to have? We know, you got designated signs and everything when you're pulling into the fairgrounds. Pit to the bleachers. Is there going to be special signs for the cornhole?
Cornhole, you have the cornhole. So if you're familiar with the fairgrounds at all, the grandstand to the east of it, there's a building. That is actually where the cornhole will take place. So right at the general admission entrance is where the cornhole will be at. The pit entrance will be separate there, a little bit more to the north. Then the camping spots are right there south of the cornhole building.
And if you haven't been to one of these shows, there's some badass food there as well.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Yes.
Didn't you even have more food trucks or something?
We got
coming
11
in?
food vendors this time. I told them to plan for this. That, like I said, the Pike County Fair Board over there has been nothing but top notch with us on this and doing everything they can to make the show go smooth and be able to grow. But yes, I told them the biggest thing is somebody is having to wait on food between heats or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said I really feel like you guys can. But the food vendors they're coming to make money. If you have too many, they don't make no money. It wasn't worth their time. But I still feel like the 11 vendors are still going to be slam packed at this show.
Especially
I really
if every one of them's different.
And every one of them is different. Every one of them is different.
I think the one in the summer, you had one for the fair. Hell, there was one with like grilled cheese sandwiches
Yep.
that were unreal. And then you had foot-long corn dogs the next one over. And then
The macho nacho would have been the next
macho
one.
nachos, yeah.
Then the Little League stand has phenomenal fish. Jerry will tell you that.
yes.
It's his favorite fish, buffalo there, and catfish. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
Then you got the Pike Counties. They got pork chops there. But everybody's different. I know there's a hot dog stand coming to set up. Justice Graphics will be there selling the event T-shirts and everything, which they are donating back a portion of every shirt sold or hat sold back to the Terry Lierly Memorial Fund.
That is just so cool, dude.
Chris Basso has been phenomenal through this, helping me and everything.
I think it's still pit passes or
Everything's $20. It's
$20.
$20, no matter general admission or pit pass. It's just a flat $20 fee.
so. Because you can just walk around.
You
the
walk
whole
around
thing.
wherever.
That is right.
Yeah.
Nothing is
Besides the beer
nothing is
garden, of
separate.
course. You got to be 21 to enter the beer garden.
which I found that out the last one.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But as far as that, you just got to sign the waiver to get in the pit area, that side of it. But yeah, you're free to go wherever.
So, yeah, guys, this thing, you know, pre-registration or registration for the cornhole starts at 8. Cornhole's going to start at 9. Your entry fee that you have paid for the cornhole, if you're staying for the Derby, it's another $10.
Another $10 is it.
$10 to watch the Derby, and you can go all the way around it, you know, enjoy the food vendors and the beer garden.
But you were talking about the food vendors at Macho Nacho. That's Cole McKinnon.
That's
right?
Cole McKinnon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole's a sponsor. I mean,
that's another Mopar guy right there.
Yes, it is. And he's been.
That was actually the first time I ever went out to Blizzard Bash. I actually bought a room off of him at the Capitol Plaza. That's how I met him.
Okay. Yep. No, Cole's a good guy.
I think he actually might be at our Halloween Havoc show.
Okay.
Slinging some food.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember seeing that message. Yeah.
No, they're good. Food's good. Shrimp tacos are phenomenal.
Shrimp tacos?
Shrimp tacos are good.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good.
You know, this thing is, like I said, guys, it'll be a week and a half roughly after this airs. This thing is going to be ginormous. So if you're not doing anything on September 17th.
And we want it to grow. I mean, that's our goal. I mean, next year we'd love to pay $10,000 to win and keep it going up. That's what we're all donating our time to this, everything's going right back to the Terry Lierly Memorial Fund to continue to grow for this. I know they're doing some scholarships in his name up at the Central Southeastern girls basketball team, I think. I know he loved watching his nieces play up there. Earlier this year, we paid for the youth drivers' entries at Griggsville out of it. So, just stuff to keep doing.
I made my appearance at the visitation over there, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of people.
He was the nicest guy you'd meet.
Well, I mean, he took some of our hardware home. And
Yep.
Yeah, that was actually the first time I'd met Terry, was that first Palmyra show we put on.
Did he win that night?
He got
third that night. Yep. So I actually rode with Sean that night. His brother-in-law, and Sean won.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
It didn't click. Normal Jerry, and then I hear Terry Lierly. What? How many brothers he got?
Yeah.
And then you start finding out Sean.
Yep. Sean married his sister Carrie. Yep.
Sean's he's a good dude.
Sean will be running the 17th. So.
See, this thing, I'm
and
telling you.
He ain't no joke either.
No.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it'll be nasty.
Well, then one of the big things doing is that tribute paint job or whatever for over there. And I've heard of some ideas people are doing that top notch.
I got that Snapchat from Jerry where Sean was out there in Jerry's car and run up in that.
Yeah, and it breaking the transmission on that snow pile. Hit the rear end underneath of it. Yeah.
Jerry was like, I guess it was too much.
Yes.
But, the 17th show, I think, is going to be just off the unreal chain for you, dude. It's so cool to see you jumping into the promotion side, working with drivers, working with builders, and just putting on unreal shows.
It's what I love. I mean, this is all I've known for the last 13 years for the most part, is Derby.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, me and the wife's family vacations usually consist of going to derbies. I mean, it's usually Blizzard Bash. It's where my time's used at. Vacation time is their carnage.
But then you got to work it.
Yeah, I know, but it's. I still love it though. I do, and the interaction and stuff. I mean, like I said, it's what I've known. So some of that stuff was gonna have to slow down though with having the little one.
Oh yeah.
But he will be raised around it.
Oh.
I'm not gonna be one of the parents that the kids get taken away from that. I feel like he's gonna enjoy every bit of it. So.
Well, that's we try to keep the kids around that stuff here. Every time I've got my son, we usually try to have him flag Power Wheels and stuff like that. He loves it.
Oh, I mean, when I'm unloading derby cars in the skid steer, he's with me. If I'm whatever, he's with me. I want to be active with him.
I've got several videos of my daughter riding with me, testing on cars and running them in and out of the shop. She loves it.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's what's about is the kids. Yeah, because we can't be living for derby and for now. That's fine. You gotta look at the future, 5-10 years.
100%.
50% of the people doing it right now are not going to be doing it in 5 or 10 years.
No.
It's the ones that are 10 years old right now.
Usually because their bodies don't let them.
And my body's slowing down. It is.
And you're 30.
I'm 31. I'll be 32. And I've told the wife, I said, I can't keep these Mad Dog runs up forever. I said, I'm going to have to start driving conservative. Brown County, I took a nasty shot from Scott McAdams in his Cadillac. Right, and I was running Sean's cars right up against the gas tank protector already. And ended up cracking a rib, bruising the bone, and then my tailbone was out. Last chiropractor visit was actually last week for that, because finally I had to wait 3 weeks before they touched me. And I'm finally starting to feel back to normal, but 5 years ago, that never would have slowed me down.
Mm-hmm.
But now, I mean, it's even already like, yeah, we got to start looking for different perspective with the little one.
Yes.
Is what it is. And being able to play pitch and catch with him.
Okay.
Well, it was awesome having you come down here, Austin. I'm glad you got to come down and talk to everybody about this show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that's been mentioned on here a lot.
And I appreciate that. And I'm sure the whole Lierly family does.
Well, and whenever I say this, we do anything for Jerry. I mean,
yep.
Because that dude has built such a name for us on our promotion side that it's ridiculous. I mean, you talk to all of our drivers, they know that there's going to be some nitpicking that Jerry does.
And that's why they come to our show, so they know it's fair. And
right.
that's why I enjoy doing it. And I'm a bigger asshole to my friends.
Well, and
I am.
We run into that.
I am.
We run into that a lot here with the other promotion guys, and I'm not saying anything bad about them. But the stuff that you know is going to slide there.
Which is good if you know it's sliding.
Right.
But then they're pissed because I ran this last week. Not at our show.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't like that, you know, they can build a car to the rules and go there, and then somebody that's built 2 steps past that is running with them. And we've tried to base our stuff off of a fair show because we will load you. I mean,
yeah.
You loaded. I think didn't you guys have to load a couple?
Oh yeah, we've loaded. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. Do I like to? No, because I know the time they've spent on it.
Right.
But what's right's right, what's wrong's wrong. If it's something we can work with, 100% we will work with you. And honesty goes a long way.
Well, and
when a driver's honest with me, that goes a lot farther than lying to me. If I ask you, you're already caught.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
And he can no, nothing's there. I already know what's there if I'm asking.
Yep.
Well, and Jerry is my favorite with that, and that's what I love about having him as our head tech. Them guys immediately go on the defense whenever he catches something. But Jerry's like, hold up, I've got a way that we can make this work.
The last thing I want to do is load you.
We had a guy that had some bracing and stuff off his pinion brake that was too much. And Jerry was like, well, hold on, we might be able to work with it because, you know, you might be under on plates. And you can use it as a repair plate or so on and so forth. You know, just an example like that. But the guys that get completely sideways with Jerry off the bat, like, he's not going to deal with that. Like, he's not going to work with that.
I've always told even my buddies that come to run our stuff, do not do something that you cannot fix there.
Yep.
If you can't fix it at that derby, don't do it.
Don't do it, yeah. Or you know you're taking the risk. I mean,
right.
You do. I mean...
And then don't be butthurt because we tell you to load your shit.
I mean, every time I go or something, which I don't push a whole lot, but you know you're taking a risk if you do something. And you have to understand if you get caught, you're caught.
Caught.
Yep.
Palmyra, 2 years ago, their fair, you were teching. You helped tech. And you crawled under a buddy's car. And you said, what's that? Well, I had to, no, that's not what that is. And that's when they figured to do a run what you brung class.
Yeah, he was loaded and very good friends with him. Very good still.
Yeah, but it was quick. This? No. That.
No. I don't. I mean, yeah, when I'm in that tech line, unfortunately, I'm not your friend. I can't be.
Well, and that, I had some trouble with that when we first started, was trying not to show emotion on the dirt, you know, whatever. Because one of my friends out there, whether they were doing good or bad or whatever, and you have to eliminate that shit.
Yeah, you're nobody's friend there. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is. You're nobody's.
Now, after the Derby,
you can go be friends again.
Yep. But while we're doing that, because I've had even friends come up to me, well, man, he's making me do this. I'm like, either do it or you're not running. That's how this works. He's the head tech.
Yep.
It's his call. I'm going to stand behind.
Business and personal have to be 2 separate entities that day.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's over, we can go drink a beer, hang out, do whatever, and we'll go home.
Or you can take your week and be pissed off, and we'll deal with it after that.
Deal with it afterwards, yep.
Yeah, so. Well, Austin, man, we appreciate you coming down. I know it's a pretty long drive. You're busy as shit.
It's worth it. I wanted to come down, talk about it, and visit with you guys. So,
like I said, we will be there.
Good.
we'll at least be in person. I'm not saying if somebody can't get off work that he's bringing a car or nothing, but
yep.
We will definitely be there to hang out and support this. So,
thank you guys, truly, thank you.
Fuel line and switch box, and mine's ready to go.
Oh hell, you should make it then. No excuses.
Make junk, boys.